Trade recap 5th of March 2026. Today I'm up 1.5 hour. Was like a pretty crazy day with a big technical issue which cost me like a 3.5 hour winning trade. So, what was the expectancy for today's trading day? Basically, and today during the ETH, we were like several times testing this balance highs up here where I could have expected buyers to continue higher, but as they got absorbed and they were constantly making new lower and lower highs, I was expecting more sell pressure and them trying to get lower instead of expanding higher into the balances above us. So what was my expectancy? I definitely wanted to go long from this area down there. Why? Because after like expanding at the highs, I thought that they might try to hold out this area once more after they already did in this week. Yeah. What basically happened then was like there was like a constant selling. This selling was going through the whole area down there, and exactly at the 6 8:15 we expected buyers to show up. They showed up and they good did those good bidding. Big buyers starting to show up and they got like higher and got absorbed somewhere around here. Where did they got absorbed? 6847. Let's see, maybe that's also an important area. 6847. Yeah, that's somewhere around here in this kind of area, but like nothing to like really consider. But basically sellers just continued, and as we got lower into this area with making like a good 32 point move on the ES, I expected. Wait, guys, what is going on with that? ADAS? Yeah, sometimes ADAS has this problem. I expected them to try it once more to hold this area, maybe get higher. What have I done? I just took this trade from down there, and then a big problem happened. Basically, my data feed had like a pretty big issue, and I wasn't able to see any more live data at all. And before I, instead of me staying in this trade and not knowing what happened, and like even I wasn't able to see any trades and any price movement before I stay in this, and it's like more and more kind of a gambling. It wasn't worth the risk for me, and I closed it. If I wouldn't have had this data problem, I would have definitely stayed in it. And yeah, big buyers starting more to shape up, and they were constantly grinding higher. Would have hit my full take profit, whereas my last contract, because I'm currently trading only 3 contracts, the last one would have been at 100 ticks, which are 25 points. Perfectly 3.5 hour win. But never mind, and then I had like a data problem. I was only trading the afternoon session then. And what happened then? Basically, we had like some constantly lower high kind of grinding, lower low, lower high kind of grinding. As you guys see here, we weren't able to hold this area. Instead, we expanded lower. You saw we were expanding lower, and getting into this high of this balance below us. And yeah, I was waiting for price to discover where it's like kind of balancing, because in most cases, if we are trading the afternoon session, price comes into this kind of balance kind of environment where it's just balancing between the values. It just found its real value. And yeah, from this low somewhere around here, they made like this good high. But then I wasn't trading like this kind of thing, because like it was making a lower low, and I thought with making this lower high they tried to get lower, but instead they just also got a good bid. And maybe this trade would have been like a low kind of probability trade, but what I liked about this was we still had like a good 18 point move, and I expected to buy a show up once more. I mean, there isn't like any 100% probability kind of thing. I just thought it's of a higher probability that buyers try to hold out this area instead of sellers totally taking it over and selling it lower. And yeah, I've taken this trade. Also, why? First of all, I saw like we had like some prior big selling up there, and this turned into a good buying. Then we had like this negative delta area, even when we consider the and also when we consider the structure, it was like a valid idea for me. Plus, we had like a pretty crazy CVD rise. What is the CVD? The CVD is basically the representation of what aggressive market participants do. Like they either click on market sell or either click on market buy, and those candles represent what is happening and how the battle is like developing. And basically, buyers just constantly took over. There was like this constant higher high grinding, and at a certain point, it's like if price of CVD is like constantly grinding higher, so that means aggressive market participants constantly want to market in the price and they press on buying, but price doesn't lead anywhere. That means that just passive selling is too strong and constantly puts buyer mark aggressive buying under pressure, which eventually leads to buyers getting weaker and price to finally revert. But I stayed in it even though the price action was like pretty crazy and shitty. And I got like my two-third of my contract size out at the 15 points. So it was like you guys see $147, two-third of them. And the last one was, yeah, I put my stop loss under the lows because I knew if they want to break them, there's a higher chance to getting lower. Then they did. They made another lower low, and all of a sudden they were like kind of balancing once more, and buying just started to totally take over, and they had like a pretty good buying since then. But yeah, that was my day. Would have been like way better if I wouldn't have had this data problem, but it is what it is. I'm still up on the day, and that's all that matters to me.